Hello folks, this is going to be just a quick video for those who are progressing their Harbingers of Ruin questline, and they want to learn how to increase their corruption to level 125 so they can get their first Harbinger to spawn. So first things first, if you click Y, you can go into your Forgotten Knights faction tab, and there's two tabs here. If you click over to the Harbinger one, then you can see which Harbingers you have not yet defeated. So to get this faction to spawn in the first place, you would have had to have completed all of the timelines and defeated the boss at the end of the timeline, and then that unlocked your first Harbinger. Then to get the next one to spawn, you have to increase the corruption. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to choose one of these uncompleted timelines to bring to corruption level 125 so that we can defeat the Harbinger at corruption level 125. Now, it's very important, actually, which one that you choose, because each time that you do this quest, it's going to increase the corruption that you need for the next one, which means that, in a way, it makes sense to do the hardest bosses for your build first, because if you leave them for the end, then you're going to be stuck completing them at the end to get your last rank rewards for like the hardest ones, which you do not want to do that. So whatever is the hardest boss for your build, I would say pick that one first, get it out of the way early so that you're not doing it on insane corruption. That's like really difficult to do. All right, so then once you've chosen a timeline, you're going to go into your monolith here, and you're going to increase the corruption. So how do we do that? Okay, first thing you need to know is that the corruption is listed up here in the top left, okay? So for me, on this timeline right now that I just completed, it is 138 corruption. How did I get it there? First thing I did was I pathed out from the middle to the edge. And then I looked for an echo here that looks like this. It's shaped like a little purple pyramid. And it says resets echo web, plus 5 corruption, and then plus 24 corruption from Gaze of Orbis. Now your numbers here will be different. How much corruption that you get from this depends on a couple of different factors. Number one, how far away it is from the center. So if you look here, this is where the timeline began, and then I took a straight path to the edge until I hit this, right? There's a couple more here. If I look here, this one has plus 5 corruption on it, base. This one has plus 9, because it's further away from the center than this timeline, or this echo, sorry. The other thing that's on here that can add corruption is the Gaze of Orbis. And how do you get that? What you do is you fill up your bar here with stability. You just get stability from, completing each of these echoes. And once it gets to this like tier 3 level here, then you can fight the boss at the end of the timeline for an extra Gaze of Orbis. I've defeated it twice, so I have 2 Gazes of Orbis, and that's increasing my corruption by 24. Now, I would suggest for the first one that you do, I would only just try to increase it to like roughly the level 125. Don't go too far over, because then it's just overkill. It's unnecessarily difficult for your purposes. But what I will say is, don't reset your timeline unless the total number of corruption here is equal to or greater than 25, right? Because you start your corruption at level 100 in the level 100 corruption timelines, and then plus 25 will get you to the 125 that you need for your first Harbinger kill. This is important because you're kind of wasting your time if you come all the way out here only to get like 122 and then have to go out again and then redo it all. So sometimes it takes a little bit of just kind of like, don't do the first one that you see. Maybe you need to come all the way up here, and then maybe then this one over here finally adds up to 125 for you, right? Or maybe you need to do a couple of these Gaze of Orbises just to get it up to 125. All right, then once you've got your corruption to 125, what you're going to do next is click on this icon here that has like the layer of whatever, and then your Gaze of Orbises. You click it, and it says whatever the boss name is, and then Harbinger Crest. Use the Harbinger Crest and lure a Harbinger into this echo. Make sure that this is clicked off. You click enter this echo, and then your boss will spawn. And once you kill the boss, the Harbinger will follow the boss, and you can kill the Harbinger, and that will complete that timeline quest for you. And then at the end there, it's basically just rinse and repeat. You're going to do that for each timeline. Now, one other interesting mechanic with these monoliths that is relevant here is that there is a catch-up mechanic for corruption. So the way that corruption works is you actually gain more corruption if you have a high amount of corruption gained in a different timeline. So let's say, for sake of argument, that this was the first timeline that I went like deep into, and I got it up to like I don't know 200 or 300 or something like that. It would be easier to get my corruption up in the other timelines that I need for my quest if I had a higher corruption in this timeline. So it may make sense to go even further out beyond this corruption and not reset it a second or a third time and keep going out and try to get it a little bit higher so that when you go to raise the corruption in the other timelines or the other quests, that you can do that quicker. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'll leave a boss kill at the end so you can kind of see like what it looks like when you fight the boss and when the Harbinger spawns. And that'll be it for the video. Thanks guys for watching, and if this was a helpful video for you, please send a like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. See you next time.
How it's supposed to feel.